All across the known universe, innocent voices cry out for the Masters of Lore!
What's up, everybody? We are back. John Delarose here, the leading Hispanic voice in science fiction, #1 best-selling author, award-winning comic creator, and I'm here with some people you might have heard of before. They are some folk in the industry. They've written one or two comics, I guess. The first guy, you may know him from The Thin Blue Line, the most exciting police book of the last year. Hello, Mike Barron. How you doing?
Greetings.
That's it. That's your introduction.
That's it.
The creator of Hunter Bear Ninja is up here next. That's right. The man, the myth, the legend, Chuck Dixon.
It's Hunter Ninja Bear.
Hunter, gosh dang it. Hunter Ninja Bear. I just got canceled on my own show.
Hunter
How it
Biden
goes.
Bear.
Hunter Biden Bear. Oh, no. No, nobody wants to see that. Nobody wants to see that. And then, of course, the NFT guy.
It's Hunter Ninja Bear. Oh my! How's everybody doing? I'm sort of the square peg in the round hole because I made my career as a artist. But
Yeah, how'd you get on the show?
I don't
what happened?
know. Chuck made me do it. Just
Chuck
like
made
he
you do it?
Write Lone Star. You know, I approached Chuck to write Lone Star with me, and he said, "Tell me what you got." So I sent him my synopsis, and he's like, "Why don't you just write it yourself?"
Oh, wow. So this is some drama between Chuck and Mike. Hold on.
That's not exactly what happened. I just felt I couldn't.
What's up, Drama Alert Nation? Let's get to the news. Chuck Dixon refusing to write Mike S. Miller's book. You've heard it here first. It's the scoop.
The scandal du jour. Chuck, you were saying something. I couldn't hear you because of the intro.
Yeah. I only go on a project if I can make it better, and I didn't think I could make it better than Mike could make it on his own. I'm being quite serious, and his pitch confused me. So.
Well, you were blowing my head up for a second there, and then you just popped it. That was.
Oh, it's like, hey, there's the superheroes, and then there's vampires, and then there's whatever. And I'm like, wow, this is a vision this guy needs to bring to life himself.
Yeah.
So.
Well, wowzer. Speaking of vision, big mistakes, as my good friend Ethan Van Sciver. There he is. Hello, Magabats and Drake, my channel members. Vale Ned, thank you very much. And I'm respectable now. Oh my gosh, going for the Liam coverage over there. Yes, Liam Gray is quitting the internet today, and we're not going to cover it on the stream. Sorry, guys. I've got respectable people here, so we're gonna be respectable on the stream today. That's how it's going to work.
Well, we'll certainly respect each other.
Okay, that's fair. Yeah. And women. We respect all women, especially.
Except Whams.
Every single one.
Yes. So, speaking of women, there's a Thor movie out, and that's kind of the thing I wanted to get your take on. So they are doing the, I guess, basically the Jason Aaron run here where they made Jane Foster into Thor, which is just a copy pasta of a What If issue from, I guess, like the late 70s, early 80s, I think.
Yeah.
So what's interesting here is we got some professionals who have been here for a long time, and reviews of the movie are saying it's pretty cringy. And so I know Mike is going to see it, and he's very excited about it, by contrast. This Mike, not that one.
Okay, wait, before you go on, it's just because of Taika Waititi's track record. I've loved all his movies so far. So
that's a fair point.
Until he craps the bed with me, then that's fine. If he craps it on this one, which John is insisting that he has, then which although he hasn't seen it yet,
it's not yet. I'm not going to see it. Yes. Yeah. Just to be clear, but okay. So when are you going to see it? When's the date?
I don't know. I'm not in a big rush or anything.
Are you got to make your YouTube 5-minute review to get the algorithm though. So
yeah, I probably won't bother reviewing it.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
But my question for you guys, and this is what I kind of talked to you guys about this a little bit. I mentioned it briefly, but as the best writers who ever lived right here, what would you do if say Akira Yoshida, aka CB Cebulski, came up to you, said, "Mr. Barron, Mr. Dixon, Mr. Miller, I want you to come and write Jane Foster Thor and make this a thing and make it good." How would you approach that? Would that
It's
that
funny
even be
you
possible?
should mention that, because I ran into CB Cebulski at a convention 4 years ago, and I walked up to him. I said, "CB, I'm Mike Barron. I wrote The Punisher for 5 years." He said, "Mike, glad to meet you." I said, "CB, I'd like to pitch you on some new Punisher ideas." He says, "Absolutely, you bet. Here's my card." Well, after the fifth pitch, over a period of weeks, when he didn't respond, I got the feeling he wasn't sincere.
Yeah, I've seen what they've been doing with the Punisher, and I mean, Mike and Chuck, you guys did the early Punisher stuff that really made the character into what it is. I mean, obviously, it was created by Gary Conway, but when he did it as a Spider-Man anti-hero villain, very different than what you guys did with the books, and you guys really made him into a wonderful, really deep character, which is, I'd say the modern stuff has really characterized the Punisher compared to what you did before.
Because
Yeah.
at the Colorado Springs convention next month, both Jerry and I are going to be guests, and I have been asking the convention organizers to put on a Punisher panel.
Uh-oh. Jerry wants the Punisher canceled, though, so his own
I
creation.
would ask him, "Jerry, why do you want the Punisher canceled?"
He's ashamed of it. So
That's sad. I mean, it is a classic character. I mean, the origin story is beautiful. I mean, it's tragic, obviously, but it is something that is memorable. It's good. The design of the character is memorable and good. That iconic logo that they don't want anybody to see anymore.
They just used his whole origin for the Terminal List, and it was a great show.
It works, right?
Yeah.
So it's a pretty good thing. So you saw the logo change that they're doing with it. What were your guys' reaction to that when you saw that? My Baron's got the face palm.
We all face palm at the same time.
At the same time. I'm surprised they're still even publishing Punisher comics, to be honest.
I am too, because the company apparently is ashamed because they're trying to morph him into something that is unrecognizable. They never got this character. I mean, really, Mike's the one that codified the character and
Yes.
laid it down in concrete for the rest of us. And but look at all the writers who have tried to write it and failed because they just don't get it. I remember when an editor told me when they canceled all of the monthly titles, and I worked on them all to the end, and they canceled it, and he said, "We're going to reboot him." This is before they actually said reboot. I don't know what they said. "We're going to bring him back, but he's going to be different." And they said, "He's going to be kinder and gentler." And I said, "Well, what does a kinder, gentler Punisher look like?"
Sailor
Moon.
Moon.
"Well, he doesn't kill people. He just maims them." And I said, so now he's a sadist. And it's like the opposite of kinder and gentler.
Yes.
And we're like, yeah, that's what we're going to do.
He takes them all to Mexican prisons.
Yeah.
Oh, jeez.
They're reimagining him as a differently abled lesbian of color.
Oh, good. That's a good one.
Damn it! You just ruined my Jane Foster pitch, man.
That's a good one. You'd actually probably get picked up for that, Miller. But yeah, I thought about doing that just to troll my audience because I've got Flying Sparks, which has 12 issues in, and I've got my last volume I'm making right now, and I thought, you know what, I should just make the main character black and not say anything, like all of a sudden.
Been there, done that.
Through the rainbow portal, right?
Yeah, through the rainbow portal. I know we were talking about that last night. I'm now actually making a book where a character goes through a rainbow portal and actually changes and suddenly she's got the shaved head. Like the whole deal. That'd be so funny. As a parody, of course. But unfortunately, they do this for real.
They all end up in Australia.
So you tried to pitch some Punisher ideas to Mr. Cebulski. He was not interested, which is too bad. I mean, I've been reading yours. They've been putting out these Marvel Epic collections that finally collect all your work, Mike, and it's been great. I never was that into the Punisher. I came around. Basically, I was in high school when Garth Ennis was really cooking on his run, and I started reading. It was a little too gruesome for me the way that Mr. Ennis did it. I get why it's popular, but it was a little too gruesome for me, and so I never really got into the character that much. And then I started reading yours, Mike, and I was like, wow, I would read this monthly. It's that good. So you really did an amazing job on that. And in those, actually, Chuck, you've got a one of the Marvel graphic novels, I believe, was yours that were reprinted in those collections also.
Right.
So it really, the character, like I said, they just pushed him a little too extreme edgy over the years. And yeah, I mean, he's a dark character, but where's that line between like a dark character that's still something that you let your kid read and the edgy, like how do you find that line when in your writing? What do you think of for that?
Well, I think every writer writes to please himself first, and the first rule of writing is it's
masturbation
to entertain and not lose sight of that fact. And I think that occasionally, often, especially Marvel and DC, entertainment doesn't even enter into it. Now, I'm not referring to Garth Ennis' run. I mean, he was obviously trying to entertain, and I did read some of his material.
And it worked. I mean, it sold very well. So I'm not knocking him. It's just not for me. But
I just think that the more depth you give the character, the more real you make him, the more reader involvement you're going to get.
Yeah, I noticed, and in your run, you imply that he's got a very, very Catholic background.
That's right.
Which you actually outright said it, yeah. Which is interesting because they always pair the Punisher with Daredevil a lot, and in the modern times they never go into Punisher's religiosity, but they do with Daredevil quite a bit. But that's actually a very interesting sort of juxtaposition of how, I guess, the Catholic guild influences both characters.
Right. It seemed obvious to me because Castle was an Americanization of Castiglione, which was an Italian, if not a Sicilian name, and Catholicism is the primary religion over there. And considering Punisher's background and his mission, it just seemed natural.
Yeah, I mean, you knew he was an altar boy at one point,
right?
That kind of thing. I always worked it in, especially after working with Johnny Romita Jr., because he really wanted to lean into him being Italian. And that sort of led me down that path. I mean, I grew up with all these Italian guys. I grew up Catholic myself, so I got it.
That's cool. Yeah, Marvel's a little scared to touch religion positively these days, which is
I think the character, as he evolved over time, is just the poor fit at Marvel.
Yeah.
Fit in with their universe or their worldview. He's a disruptive character. He should be at another company or spun off on his own.
Yeah, that's actually probably a good point. No. It's interesting how I've noticed, like, as superheroes have progressed, and all you guys have probably seen this, that like superheroes really don't have a code of ethics anymore at all. It is whatever suits whatever writer at the moment is their code of ethics. The only like code they have at this point that all superheroes seem to have to adhere to is we will not kill, which is a ridiculous code because it doesn't make sense given that they're in like extreme violent situations always. Yeah. It's like going in and telling the U.S. military, okay, you're going to go in and you're going to fight a war. Don't kill anybody. That's the number one rule. But we must win this war. Like how did we get to that point? Because I don't think they used to have that ethos, I guess, back in the day. Am I wrong on that too? Did they used to have that ethos?
No, we got there gradually. And I think the most obvious explanation is comic books is now an adjunct of Hollywood. And if you want to work in Hollywood, you must agree with them on absolutely every issue, whether your personal beliefs align with that or not. You're going to throw that right over so you can keep working. And I have to point out that Jerry went to Hollywood and he's been working on Law and Order for the last 10 years or so. So he's part of the machine. And I think that the things he says about Punisher are partly job insurance. I could be wrong. But I know a lot of people have gone to Hollywood, and the same thing has happened to them. Friends of mine that used to be conservative, or at least normal, and now you go to their Facebook page, and everything is a bumper sticker.
Yeah, because I mean, particularly on Law and Order. I mean, when you went in with those producers, I mean, these are the producers who bent the knee to the Clinton administration. When Janet Reno called them in and said that she called in all the producers of all the cop shows and said she wanted them to alter their material. So basically, the only bad guys, the only criminals we'll see on these shows are white collar criminals.
Interesting. Really?
The producers of Law and Order bent the knee immediately. And that's why Michael Moriarty quit the show in the early seasons, because he said, I'm not going to work for producers who are basically listening to the state as far as what the content of the program should be.
I never knew that. Like, that's really interesting that government administrations are influencing our television and propagandizing like that.
Well, the CIA's been doing it for half a century.
Yeah, that's true.
So you get a Jerry Conway, and he enters that environment, and you're either going to have to go along with them or find other work.
Now, Chuck, you've got like a series of like vigilante novels, Leave on Cade, which is picking up a lot of steam. Now, you've actually, has it been optioned for a show, or what's the deal with that?
It was optioned
going on
a couple of years ago. I hate it when they announce options, because then you have to answer questions about it.
Yeah, forever. I'm sorry, and I'm that guy asking the question.
But it was optioned by Sylvester Stallone. He actually wrote the first 3 episodes for a TV series, and it was a good place. But then COVID came along, and then the whole woke thing came along, along with it, and. But now with the success of Jack Reacher, with the success of Terminal List, there's renewed interest in it.
And then you always have the Daily Wire.
Yeah, it'd be interesting.
I'm talking to them as well. So
nice. That'd be a good spot for your book stand up, I think, for sure.
Yeah.
So we did have a super chat, and I was involved in discussion. Projects and Poorly, thank you for the $5. Much appreciate you guys supporting us here. Gents, how many ideas does it take for you guys to make something you like? If I have an idea for a story, how many drafts should I do? That is a very loaded question, and on my end, I'm of that like kind of pulp aesthetic where it's like I'll have an idea and I write it and then I move on to the next one real quick most of the time. For Overmind right now, this is like the one exception I've had in things. So Overmind's my Kickstarter that's in the description below, guys. And it's a science fiction graphic novel. I actually wrote the character, and I came up with her, and I came up with a story, and I wrote a script for the story, and I thought it was there wasn't enough to it. It was just a pew-pew shooting up aliens. And I thought I was like, you know what? I like this character a little more than that, and I actually scrapped that story and went with a completely different story that's got a lot more depth and a lot more gravitas to it, which became Overmind. So that's the one time I've ever scrapped a story with a character and then redone it. As far as drafts, usually for scripts, I do 2 drafts, and then I go to I've got an editor who's an independent editor who then goes over it, make sure there's no continuity problems, things like that. Go back to it, and then I do another pass after the art's done to make sure the dialogue fits the panels, because artists tweak things. Mike, you guys don't always do exactly what we're thinking or saying at the time, and it's like sometimes the dialogue doesn't fit, and it's all your fault, artists.
Well, I mean, that'll happen. That'll happen even if I'm drawing something I wrote myself. It's like sometimes stuff comes up, and something should flow better if I add this panel or remove this panel, or just streamline or tighten it up or expand it to give more room for certain scenes to breathe, right? So that's it is kind of a thing where that's why I kind of like lettering my own stuff too, because I can, even in the lettering stage, I can go through and I'm like, oh, you know what, I should probably add something here or take it away just so it all works better, because it's a visual medium as well as a literary one. So
what about you? What about
all the writers out there who think we're butchering your scripts, but
from idea to story, what's your usual process? Do you usually have 1 in 5 ideas that work, or do you just go with all of them, or what do you think? What's your thoughts on that? He says, how many ideas does it take for you to make something you like, basically? So Baron can answer then. That's good.
One.
We're going for it.
I don't choose my stories. My stories choose me.
Yeah.
When you get an idea, you know that's the one you're going to run with. I don't worry about what am I going to write next. I mean, I have so many ideas. The problem is choosing
Me
one
too.
and running with it. Every would-be writer has a million words of bullshit clogging up his system, and you have to get that out before you get to the good stuff. So for you aspiring writers out there, you got to write every day. Number two, you got to carry a notepad and a pen with you at all times so that you can write down ideas as they come to you, and also write down
we have
names.
iPhones now, Mr. Barron. It's
I call it my IP folder.
Yeah.
I tell you, I have an iPhone, but I prefer notepad and a pen for a couple of reasons. One, when you write it down by hand, it fixes it in your memory much better than an
It's
iPad.
true. You're right.
And two, when you say it out loud, it fixes it in your memory too. But once you get going and you understand story, which only comes with experience, you won't make a misstep. I haven't made a misstep in years. I don't think any of you guys have, because you understand what constitutes story. You don't get off on tangents that you like. You know, there's an old saying, let your babies go, which is if you write a chapter that you like, but it has nothing to do with the story, you got to cut it out. Well, I don't think any of us write chapters that we need to cut out because we understand what constitutes story.
Yeah, I've got it out. I usually do, so what I do, Projects End Poorly, and thank you again for the $2 for your. I got your typo there, bro. But what I do is I outline first, and when I do my outline, I usually tuck that aside for a couple days. Then I look at the outline before I start scripting, and then if there's a problem with it, I've fixed it before I ever start going into the page breakdowns and things like that. So. You just kind of learn by doing on that level, and that's what Mike said about the million words first. Once you've screwed up a couple of times, like you figure out those screw ups or where you're likely to screw up, which is different than everybody else's where they're likely to screw up. So it's all, you have to do that work. And once you've done that, you don't do it again is what it comes down to. I think. I don't know. I could be wrong.
Well,
Chuck's never screwed up, so it's different.
I mean, as far as draft on a comic script, comics are just in my DNA. It's different than writing prose. And I had a Batman editor once say, "You don't read these things before you send them in, do you?" They don't.
Nice.
You know, I write, to be continued, save, send, and it just goes. And his question was because I'm terrible about misnumbering pages. I'll write 2-page 17s.
Me too.
Yeah.
As an artist, that can get frustrating.
Oh, jeez. Uh-oh.
Especially when the editor
rewrite.
doesn't catch it, and then I'm sitting here going through the thing, and I'm the one that has to edit 2 17s.
Aren't you glad that Chuck didn't write Lone Star now, because you would have had 2-page 17s, Mike?
Maybe 3.
Maybe.
Well,
William.
The thing is, with DC, it was awesome. With Marvel, it was a nightmare if you did that. But at DC, you would just say, well, I'll renumber the pages, and then next month I'll just make the story a page shorter. And they would say, fine. So as long as it all came out at the end of the year, the same number of pages, they didn't care.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah. William, thank you for the $2 super chat. Wanted to thank you all for all of your work. Hey, thanks, bro. We appreciate you, especially the readers out there. You guys are the superheroes to us because you allow us to do what we do every day. And that's what makes things awesome. So, cool. Well, speaking of awesome, so you guys have probably seen the Ripaverse showing up, and I wanted to go over this because this is the news. I just made a 5-minute video about it because I'm going to get a ton of clicks on it. And welcome here if you're new fans to the show who have been following and just came through the Ripa videos I've been making. But here it is. This is Eric July's new, I guess he's launching a whole new comic universe with this today. And the big news is, of course, this hit $1 million freaking in less than 2 days.
Holy crap.
Wow.
I'm talking
Right?
to him tomorrow.
Just over an hour. Just over an hour. Just over
No,
a day.
seriously, I am talking to him tomorrow.
Are you really?
Yeah, I have a podcast with him tomorrow.
That's
Oh, rock on. Is he going in? Are you going on his channel or are he going on your channel? What's going
I'm
on?
going on his. Nobody comes on my channel but me.
Why does nobody go on your channel but you? Why are you gatekeeping
Technologically
us?
challenged. That's why I don't know how to have anybody on my channel.
Oh, no.
well, you will after you're on Ripas. So
Crazy stuff. So he did this. I think the most fascinating part about this is he's done this on his own website. He built his own site, built his own tiers and all this stuff, and isn't using either Kickstarter, Indiegogo, not using Diamond, not using Amazon, not using any of that infrastructure out there from any of these corporations. This really changes the game. It's a new level because I've been banned from Indiegogo, and Chuck, you've had a project banned from Indiegogo. Also, Mike, you've had a project banned from Kickstarter. Baron
and shadow banned on Indiegogo.
And shadow banned on Indiegogo. Baron,
we're all shadow banned. We're shadow banned right now.
We're all shadow banned. Yeah, probably.
Literally,
Baron,
no one can see this.
Have you been banned with any of your stuff? Or
Not yet.
Not yet. Yet is the key. Yes. And so there's always that fear out there that these corporations are going to screw with us. And for me, I view it as a matter of time because they really don't like independent thinkers or independent writers who aren't going to just toe that line. And Rip is one of those guys who I think would have been in danger of that because let's be honest, as a black man who is conservative, that's the most dangerous possible thing to their narrative as it can be, because the one thing they always, go after us they go, "You're a racist," right? And they can't do that to him. And that really, really panics them beyond anything else. So what do you think about this? What do you think this means for the future of independent comics?
They can do it to him. They do it to Clarence Thomas.
I guess they do, huh? Yeah.
Yeah. Uncle Tom. They're already calling him Uncle Tom. Not understanding.
I've already seen that.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is still interesting that he's pushing different boundaries, and he was able to successfully direct everybody to his own controlled website and not an online storefront everybody's seen. I think it's amazing.
Well, he's a genius. I mean, that's brilliant. I mean, he's working the system against itself, which is terrific.
And he's saved $50,000 in
that ain't bad either.
In fees. I know. I'm jealous.
Yeah.
That is a big deal, actually.
He's
so these sites
more in fees than most people make on their
making a campaign. Yeah.
Yeah, we're trying to raise $50,000 for Hunter Ninja Bear, and here he just saved it, in analog fees.
Maybe he can give you $50,000 for Hunter Ninja Bear out of that. Maybe you're going to talk to him tomorrow. So
yeah,
make it an add-on campaign.
That's the first thing I'll ask him.
Can I have those fees you saved? That'd be great.
It's now money.
Cool. What a cool crowdfunding thing.
For your sofa.
Yeah, that's amazing. He's the king of crowdfunding now. Or comics.
Hail to you, Geek Avenger. I'm glad you're here. Thank you, everybody who's a channel member. John Dacre, welcome. Mike Barron is correct here. Oh, this is about the notepad. He's all in on the notepad there.
That's for sure.
Magabat says Badger is the greatest comic book of all time. Wow, that's high praise.
I have a note, so I can actually use my phone as a notepad. So there you go.
Oh, you do? Rex, hello. John really got that cray-cray laugh. Am I laughing crazy like? I don't know.
That's just your normal laugh, John.
My normal laugh? That's fair. Okay. Well, this is pretty interesting. And, so he's got a $35 price point for a 96-page graphic novel, which is a little bigger than we're seeing from most crowdfunds in terms of just page count and all that. And it seems to having that level of a price point doesn't seem to be deterring the customers at all.
Apparently,
which is very interesting. Yeah.
Average $100 a person, right?
Yeah, that's right. 10,000 to $1 million is an average of $100 a person. So most people are not just getting the comic, but it looks like on average they're getting trading cards, T-shirts, all the swag with this, which is amazing. They're really all in on this.
Yeah, and dude's already building out his warehouse for shipping and everything. It's
man,
he's really put it together.
Amazing stuff.
Salud.
Yeah. God bless him. All right, so we'll get into some other stuff. So here is Hunter Ninja Bear, which I've backed, Chuck. I back all your projects. I love your writing, Chuck. I really do. And this is up right now. And I actually just talked to the guy from Phenom Comics on the phone about half an hour ago. Yeah, Tom. It was Tom.
That guy's enthusiasm plus.
He really is.
Yeah.
And he goes out. Hey, we got Beverly in the chat. My excellent co-host, one of my best friends. So he's really set up this company, which is really ambitious. Like I clicked on the company link once I saw this. So I'm like, who's Phenom Comics, right? And you get into this, and I mean, having Chuck Dixon is enough gravitas by itself, you'd think. But then he's got Scott McDaniel.
Mm-hmm.
He's got Ivan Nunez. He's got Tony Bedard. He's got Ace Continuato, Bart Sears. Oh my gosh. What's going on with this company? Can you tell me a little about it? Do you know about it?
I don't know much about the background on the company. I just know that they paid me the same day I would hand in scripts.
Oh, wow.
And they brought me the concept of Hunter Ninja Bear. It's their story, but they needed someone to dramatize it. They had done a lot of the research. It required a lot more research, but they left me a free hand for basically the guys who created this universe. They left me a totally free hand on how I wanted to work it and what new characters I brought to it and stuff like that. But the original concept is just outrageous. I mean, as soon as they told me,
well, the title's outrageous.
Yeah, the title's outrageous. Rob Hunter brought me into it because they had hired him as an inker, and then they told him this concept. They says you got to ask Chuck if he wants to do this for you, and I had a blast on it. And it's a true comic epic. It's 360 pages.
Yeah, this is he told me about that, and he said one of the other book that Ace Continuato is working on, who actually I know him in person. He's actually from the Bay Area here. Beautiful artist. I don't know if you guys know him, but absolutely incredible. What's that?
Are you talking about Mel Ruby?
No, Ace Continuato. Different book. I guess his is over 400 pages. So they're really pushing these thick books that are like really intense stories. It's very interesting that they're doing this. Is this a play for? Because he mentioned that he pitches scripts to Hollywood and things like that. Right. Is this kind of like a proof of concept because they want to go into movies and TV shows, or what,
I
what's
think
their
that's
game
what
plan?
it is, because the surest way to get somebody to look at anything anymore is to say, hey, there's a comic book. Oh, we're gonna make Avengers money. They're idiots, but this is what you got to do to get their attention. And,
awesome.
You can't just drop a screenplay on a desk anymore. What's the use? And it's all here. I mean, and Hollywood loves these things because all the development is done for them at a fraction of what it would have cost for them to do it. So
awesome, William F. Thank you for joining the channel. I appreciate all the channel members, and I appreciate you being around. You've been around for a while. Cool stuff. So what's Hunter Ninja Bear about? Obviously, there's a hunter, a ninja, and a bear, or is it all one person that is a hunter, ninja, and a bear?
Several hunters, several ninjas, and several bears. But it's set in the early 1800s. It's at a time when they were getting rid of the samurai class. The ninjas were driven into hiding. And we have a ninja clan living basically at the foot of Mount Fuji, and they're farmers now. And they begin to get plagued by this bunch of really ferocious man-eating bears, and who nearly wipe out the clan. And the ninjas realize we're really good at killing men, but we suck at killing large carnivorous animals. So they send an envoy to the Western United States, and he recruits a group of mountain men, bear hunters, to come back to Japan with him and kill these bears to extinction. And that's the basic plot line of it. So it's a clash of cultures. It's got some horror elements because you got
that was not what I was expecting from this plot at all. I was expecting like a literal ninja bear to be like,
if you've ever been around bears, they're not very sneaky. You can hear them coming a long way away. So.
That's fair.
Because they're an alpha predator, they don't require stealth.
Amazing.
But yeah, and Mel Ruby on art.
Mel is amazing. Yeah. I looked at this and I was fantastic. Like, whoa, this is pretty stuff.
Ivan Nunez on the coloring. The coloring is just superb.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, every level. So I'll put that in the link. If you guys want to check this out, it is going to be in the chat right here. And, of course, I'm backing this myself. Like I said, I back everything Chuck does. I back everything Mike does. I've actually back everything both Mikes do. These are some quality people that do good work. And, support our friends here. Now, it is so I thought it was a little odd that they put a $50,000, I'll hit the elephant in the room. They put a $50,000 goal. That's freaking difficult to do. Yeah. And I saw that and I'm like, ooh, that's rough. Like, you shouldn't roll out there with a Kickstarter from a company, people haven't heard of, despite having great creators with it. Right. That's a big ask unless you have a mailing list like Eric July's. It's going to
It'll
be
be
tough.
there tomorrow. You'll be good.
It'll be there tomorrow. Yeah.
Right after I get off of Eric's show, it'll be there.
Once you get
Yeah,
off Eric's show,
that's
you'll probably
not-
have 1,000 new backers. It's true.
You only need that
So-
50,000 that he gave up. I mean, that he.
That's true.
He'll part.
But
with that very well.
what
I'll ask
Tom
him real
told
nice.
me is that they're working. They've got a backup plan to solicit this through Diamond and actually get this book out
Yeah,
anyway.
he told me. Yeah, it's all
so-
covered. It's not like it's not going to happen because it's completed.
Right, it's
You know,
done.
That's what I keep stressing to people. It's a completed book. This isn't a book you're going to back and wait 5 years to see. It's completely finished. So
Good
So
stuff.
did this come out as issues or anything, or is
it's
this
never
all-
been out as anything.
Wow, all
No.
those pages. That is incredible.
It
That's
is
a big commitment. Yeah,
Yeah.
cool.
That along with all the other books they've put together. So
How thick
It's
is
amazing
this
with
thing, like 2 inches.
360
I've
has
never
to
seen a
be kind of like this. Yeah.
yeah, it's got to be big.
I mean, 80. Yeah. Oh, geez. Yeah.
Good stuff. All right, and then we've got Mike Barron's, that is, new book. Did you put that? Where'd you give me the link? There it
I
is.
gave you the link on Facebook and in the private
got it.
chat. It's called The Private American.
Private American. What's this about?
Well, it's everything Captain America should be, but isn't, with a little Punisher thrown in. When we first meet Marcos, he's on the southern border, intercepting coyotes, fentanyl smugglers, and terrorists. And Marcos doesn't mind killing them if they deserve killing, and a lot of people down there deserve killing. This is very alarming to the authorities because they want that border wide open as they are seeking the destruction of the United States, and that's what it's about.
Cool. I'm in for this. This sounds great.
Oh,
So, yeah.
All day long.
He starts dropping off shipments in the middle of the night at the Texas Rangers headquarters. So they call him the Fentanyl Sentinel.
Awesome.
Trademark.
Good stuff. Well, this is in signups right now, and here's the little sign up sheet. So real
Yes.
easy, and you
Please
can just
sign up.
throw your name and email right in there, and you don't have to do anything right now. Oh, Richard Bonk, awesome! What a great guy he is.
A man whose name is a sound effect.
Yes.
It is.
Yeah.
But he's done a lot of good work also, and he's been around our circles for a long time. So I'm glad to see him working with you. That's good stuff.
Richard is blazing through this. That's why this is the next project we're putting up, because we think Richard is going to be done with the whole book by the end of the month. So this is another book that's going to be ready to go. And
Perfect.
Gabe Elton colored that cover. I don't know if we're going to get Gabe to color the whole book, but we have some excellent colors in the wings.
How
Good
are you
stuff.
doing on the email solicit?
I'd have to ask Chris.
Okay.
Chris Brawley.
That's
who's
a good tactic. I never thought of that one.
The man behind Bounding into. Oh, no.
No, he's not that. No, he's not. He's Bleeding Fool. Bounding into comics is John Trent.
Yeah, that's right. Sorry,
Yeah.
John. Sorry, Chris. But Chris is a genius, and anybody who's seen the videos for my books understands why. If you saw the video for Florida Man or for Thin Blue Line, you just slack-jawed and say, "Wow, holy shit!" And this is what a video should be.
Yeah.
Yeah. You did a great job with your campaigns, and Chris really does good work with his reporting also. Super nice guy. You've got a really good team.
You write for Bleeding Fool, don't you? Joey?
No, I write for Bounding. So the opposite, yeah.
Well, it's
Bleeding
not the
Fool.
opposite.
You could.
It's not the opposite.
Bleeding
Definitely
Cool is the opposite.
Bleeding Cool is the opposite.
Yeah, that's right.
And nobody wants to write for them. We don't want to be
No.
associated with that.
Not really.
Bleeding Fool came into existence because Chris was looking at Bleeding Cool and saying,
Oh gosh.
"What the fuck?"
Rich Johnson is one of the most insufferable a-holes I've ever encountered in my entire life. And what's interesting is this is not a right or left issue with Richard Johnson from Bleeding Cool.
No,
Everybody, right and left, hate Richard Johnson.
The Great Uniter.
The Great Uniter.
I don't hate anyone, but he is a legitimate dude.
Oh, man. He blew me up. And that was like my first real blow up into, I guess, the zeitgeist of the internet, to where I became like a minor e-celebrity. I was writing a blog, and I actually went through and I I was just noting all of the writers at Marvel Comics at the time. Every single one of them was just writing angry political posts in 2017 from exactly one perspective. There wasn't even one writer who was on the dole at Marvel with a monthly book at that time who was silent. It was all the same. So I wrote a blog about it, and I pointed that out. I'm like, how does this, like, what do Americans think about this who are readers or want to get their kids in a comic shop? You can't put a lot of faith in that. That's really not They always say representation matters, but they're not representing, half the country.
Well, and it's either.
No. And so I wrote that out, and I said, look, if you want some representation, Marvel, I've got some opposite views from these guys, and I'm Hispanic. I got the twofer. And so Rich Johnson, I'm a nobody. I had a blog, maybe 50 people read it at that point. And he wrote this whole thing on Bleeding Cool about like how I'm trying to apply for a job at Marvel, and like I'm like it was a joke, obviously, because Marvel would never hire anybody who's even a centrist at this point. But he wrote this whole thing just lambasting me. And I wake up one day to hundreds of emails telling me to kill myself, etc., and all that, because I'm on Bleeding Cool, and I'm like, holy crap!
You arrived.
Oh yeah.
So
you did a whole article on me called Pink Listed.
I remember that.
Yeah.
Oh geez. Well, you've had several articles because Mike, you had your epic troll that one time when you took the Mike, yeah, which one? You took a Mike Wieringo drawing, and you basically inked over a traced version of it to.
No, I inked over the original.
You inked over the original. Oh,
yeah, but it was just a layout. It was
just a layout. A throwaway layout.
Just gave it to somebody for free. And
okay.
That guy gave it to me, and it was just, and he wouldn't have given a damn.
No, he wouldn't have.
He would have thought.
You would have thought it was funny, and you did that, and then you inked it Lone Star over it, and of course everybody flipped out on Twitter.
Yeah.
And disrespecting Mike Wieringo, and then you went and
calling me. I'm not going to name it, but I had people calling me literally crying. I would have saved a napkin if Mike had scribbled on it. I'm like, well, why don't you go buy some of the pages he has on eBay for $40 right now? They're just sitting there, nobody wants
right.
them. Like they're completely finished.
I was at the time going to because I keep asking you for covers and you keep telling me no. Just like Chuck told you no. So now you get a little taste of your own medicine. So, but
I didn't want to draw Robotoad. I am so sorry.
Damn it! You should have. So what I was gonna do, I found a Supergirl drawing of yours on eBay for like $50 also. Mm-hmm. And it was like a convention sketch. So I was gonna buy that and then have my inker turn it into my Flying Sparks character Metagirl, and then have a Mike Miller cover. That was gonna be my troll in reverse to you, but I never got around to it, unfortunately.
And the time had passed.
The time it took. The problem is it took too long to get that going, and oh well.
Yeah, you forgot the end of that troll. That was literally the greatest troll in the history of mankind, because after I burned it, after I did a video of me burning it, which really lit the internet on fire.
They went crazy. Yes.
Yeah. Then I was on a live stream and I pulled it out live that I had the original. I had burned I have a really nice copier, and so I printed it on Bristol board and everything. It looked just like it.
Wow.
Yeah.
Awesome stuff. Oh my gosh. All right, so that is Mr. Barron and Mr. Dixon's new projects right now, and I guess Mike doesn't want to shill.
Well, I mean, I'm not doing a lot of writing right now. I am developing a comic book for Meta Bounty Hunters, but it's an NFT project. I've been helping Cyber Hornets.
This is not Mike's.
The wonderful Mike Barron is writing Cyber Hornets comics that I've been helping that NFT collection put together these comics that they give away to NFT holders. And then I've got a couple books over at BitBoy that I wrote and drew and have just been sitting on my thumbs waiting for them to publish. And I did the Stativersity adaptation.
When's that coming out? I've been waiting for that.
I don't know. They've just gotten back to me. They had to let somebody go who was in control of this thing, and so they're trying to get it all back on track. So hopefully, this Ripaverse thing will motivate Shad to kind of get that back on, because I did.
Well,
he'll
crush it. I mean, he will.
Finishing it, yeah, and that was really fun, because I took, adapting a novel. It's like you have to do a lot of actual trimming and changing and whatnot, and so I had to take the first third of this novel and give it a solid through line. So we actually added a character to it to actually play up a full story, so that the first issue essentially is a complete story, even though it's part of a whole novel. So
I talked to Chuck about that last time, adapting a novel, because I actually saw these hardcovers of A Wheel of Time that Chuck had adapted, and you said that was one of the most excruciating experiences of your life, and it was very difficult to adapt that novel into comic form because it's so slow paced, I guess, right?
Yeah, not a lot happens in a vast majority of those books. I mean,
that's true.
The first chapter I adapted was it was two women watching two other women read a book. So whenever Jordan would mention a battle in passing, it might be a battle happened 1,000 years ago, I would get 5 pages out of it.
Nice.
Even if it was like 2 lines about this historic battle.
Sing of Manetheren.
I needed the eye candy.
And Mike, you did Game of Thrones. So
I did. I was supposed to draw Wheel of Time, but that's another story.
Oh, geez.
Yeah.
Interesting.
I did New Spring. I did the adaptation for New Spring, the Wheel of Time, Wheel of Time prequel story.
Really cool.
The one with the 2 women reading and the other 2.
Yeah, there was a lot of reading and walking and talking and hanging around, and I didn't write the adaptation.
It was not written to be a comic. It's not written to be a comic.
They're just not good.
But well, I love the books. I'm a big fan of Wheel of Time.
We're gonna have a problem.
We have a problem.
Yeah, Joe. I couldn't look, man. I picked up Wheel of Time right after I'd finished reading the first 3 Song of Ice and Fire books, and it was like going from a race car to like a broken down Winnebago, and it was just like I couldn't do it. It was like I felt like I was grinding this. Nothing, against Jordan. Obviously, very successful fantasy writer, and people love his stuff. But it was just going from one to the other. It was like slamming on the brakes, and I just couldn't. I had to stop reading.
I personally think, after Tolkien, why didn't anybody even bother in this genre?
I thought Wheel of Time was fantastic. I like it better than Tolkien, to be honest. I'm going to go there.
Okay,
yeah.
We really have a problem now. I mean, Lord of the Rings is the last word on the subject. I mean, why bother? But people buy them, so yeah, okay. I guess it's worth bothering.
I didn't like Game of Thrones. I didn't even finish the book. I thought it was degenerate.
Really?
Yeah. So.
Because of the degeneracy.
Yeah, I couldn't handle it. So, Anthony Gonzalez Clark, somebody who I might have heard of before. I don't know what he's in connection with. Thank you for the $2. Hey, brother, how you doing? Let's talk
more,
My
but
Sister
I pay
Suprema.
him crap. So.
My Sister Suprema. Let me show my book, because I've let these guys show their Kickstarters, and then we'll get into that, because you do have an excellent story, and you are a wonderful artist in and of your own right, my friend. But this is Overmind. It is going for 10 more days, my friends. And so I've got this up on Kickstarter. This is science fiction. I went back into science fiction because... what do you mean, JDA, what? Is this because I said Wheel of Time is better than Lord of the Rings? I'm going to get canceled now. Yeah, I'm done in it forever.
Oh, how'd you like the Amazon series, John?
Oh, jeez. Let's not even get started on that. That's what a disaster.
That was the worst casting for Moraine,
ever. Yeah, it was the worst everything ever. I mean, they really put no effort into that. So, yeah, but he didn't even want to come back to the show. Well, okay.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's rough. So, but this is Overmind, and where I guess Wheel of Time is a very slow-paced thing. This is not. This is a good comic book that's 66 pages of action, adventure, and fun. What we're going for is old school stuff. If you look at that 80s, 2000 AD vibe, that's what we're going for with the sci-fi. We've drawn some Nexus comparisons a little bit with this. We've drawn some comparisons with Valerian, of course, is really what I was going off and going for with this. And so if you like excellent sci-fi adventure with a retro aesthetic, Ms. Crimson is one of those like independent artists from the 1980s who did a lot of work back then, who is going anonymously to protect her own identity in these spheres. And so she's a wonderfully experienced artist, does a great job. And the story is about an AI that has taken over a planet in the Imperium and has brainwashed all the subjects there. It's a commentary on how social media and algorithms actually dictate our daily experiences. And Ayla Rin is dispatched to make sure it does not actually spread like a cancer to the entire Empire. So that is her deal. She's a secret agent, lots of fun, and I hope you'll back it and support our fun comics today. Aaron Lopresti, our good friend, did the cover of Wonder Woman fame, if you don't know that, or of Wraith of God. So check it out. Thank you. All right, My Sister Suprema is a fun little comic on, if I can type this in, on Archaven.com right here. And what I don't like about Archaven is there's not like a search function where I can just like type in the name up top and grab it. I should talk. I'm actually going to email Vox about that as soon as I'm off the air. Where is this?
How many of those has
He wants
Chuck
you to look
written?
at everything. So.
He wants you to look at it. I get wanting to look at everything, but you should be able to type in your favorite comic and just do that.
How many of those have you written, Chuck?
Huh?
How many of those have you written?
Of these properties or of My Sister Suprema?
The properties.
I wrote a ton of them.
A lot of them.
Some of them that Vox's name is on. I've contributed a lot to Midnight's War and Silencioso and a couple of other things.
Good stuff. Basically, this is like a webtoon alternative that basically has much better comics than Webtoon has. Let's just call it that.
Yeah, it's growing exponentially. We're getting to
it really is.
We're getting to that next million views much quicker each time. So
I've got a bunch of my stuff on here too. I've got Deus Volt and Flying
Land?
Sparks on here also. Packins Land's on here.
Nice.
The Quaff Shotgun Samurai's on here. Gosh, I can't find
if you click
Sister
on
Suprema.
if you click on one that I did and click on my name, it'll take you to
Click
a
on your
list.
name.
Yeah.
Where do we find Chuck Dixon? Chuck Dixon's Avalon.
You're
There we
going
go.
too fast. There you go. No, you want to click on
The legend Chuck Dixon. There we are.
Boom, and then
Look at all these that Chuck's doing on here right now. Here we go.
Chuck doesn't sleep, ladies and gentlemen.
Here it is. I know. He's amazing. I
and when
want to be him
I'm
when I
still
grow up.
writing. So,
But the best part is you can read all these for free, so you can just check out what you want. And there's 23 episodes of Sister Suprema, and Anthony Gonzalez-Clark in the chat down here actually does the art for it. A wonderful
he's a genius.
artist.
The man is a
I like
genius.
that.
Beautiful work.
I had
So,
this idea for like 15 years, and I could never find the right guy for it. And Anthony asked me if we wanted to work together. I said, "Give me your website. Let me take a look at what you do." And when I looked at it, I thought, "Wow, this guy is so perfect for this."
Absolutely solid stuff.
He's exceeded all of my expectations. It's just amazing. He makes this trip funnier by his contributions.
It's great storytelling too.
Yeah. He's just terrific. Everything I could ask for.
Good stuff.
Yeah.
But so there's a lot going on, and this is it. This is, I guess we are we're the modern pulp superstars, guys. That's what it used to be back in the 30s, 40s, and 50s. It's like you'd blink and you'd miss a project from your favorite writer, and that's I try to do that, and I know you guys try to do that too. And I really like that mentality. I really think that the pulp writing is what it led, like just the way they did it there. There was a carefree mentality to it that just led to fun that you don't get from a lot of other writing. I mean, am I? Do you agree with that? I mean, I assume you do.
I don't think it's the genre. I think it's the writer.
Yeah.
Okay, that's fair.
I think
know.
Mike will agree that I think Mike's the same as me. As we get older, it becomes more and more of a compulsion.
Right. Yeah, after you do things, it becomes that for sure.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, I mean, Mike talked about, when writers worrying about where's my next idea going to come from, and after a while you stop worrying about that. I mean, I see where writers get burnt out. I can't imagine that happening to me.
Yeah, there's not enough time to write all the ideas.
Yeah.
It's because the ideas keep coming. It's like in
Go to
business or
episode
anything
11.
else. It's like if you're a guy that comes up with good ideas, then you need like a bunch of people to work for you to do
Oh
it.
my!
Right.
So this is episode 11.
That's sweet.
Oh no! Do you want to play the sister, Chuck, and I'll play Randy?
No, but
Do you want to do a live reading?
They're picking out a costume, which is the only way that Cecilia gets interested in being a superhero is that she'll get to wear cool clothes.
No, that's cute. Oh
If
man!
you don't know the story,
Wow.
Randy, the little boy, it's a little brother, and he wants to be a superhero, and he finds a superhero formula on a website, and when he tries to work it accidentally works for his sister instead. So he has to live vicariously through her. So it's part sibling rivalry, it's part superhero parody, but it's got real superhero story bones underneath of it. We're just trying to introduce our main villain. And unlike most superhero comics, this villain arrives organically because he's the one who owns the original superhero formula.
Cool stuff.
Yeah.
Helmet says Fritz Lieber's Fafherd and the Gray Mouser would make great comics series. Yeah, Fritz Lieber did a lot of good work, and actually, DC Comics in the 70s did. Was it DC or was it Marvel?
It was DC with Howard Chaykin.
It was DC. That's right, Howard Chaykin. There you go. Chuck knows. Encyclopedia. Actually adapted some of Fritz's work, and I don't think it's been reprinted. It was called like Swords
and Sorcery, wasn't it?
Was it just called Swords and Sorcery directly? The
Or
series?
Swords Over Sorcery? I can't remember.
Something like that. And so you might want to look for those. I don't think those issues go for much. It'd be great to see those reprinted. I really wanted to adapt Paul Anderson's High Crusade. That's always been like my 100% favorite thing I'd want to adapt. And I actually I got in touch with his daughter, and then she kind of flung me off to their attorney, and then the attorney was like, meh, we've got a lot of different, people wanting to adapt stuff. I'm like, no, you don't.
Yeah, they're hammering the door down.
But
remember all those great Paul Anderson movies? Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. That's really what I want to do more than anything. That's a great question. I'll go down that panel. So that's my number one for what I would want to adapt. So Baron, what would be the number one property that you'd want to adapt if you had the choice?
Well, I think that we'd all prefer to work on our own creations.
No, I want the High Crusade over my own creations. That'd be fun.
All right, let me think. For a minute. I'd like to do Philip Jose Farmer's World of Tears. So,
Yes. Ooh, that's a good one. Good stuff. That's bringing back classics too. What about you, Chuck? You're Mr. Adaptation.
Yeah, I've done a lot of them. I'd probably like to adapt a novel called The Cowboy and the Cossack by Claire Huffaker. And,
Nice.
It's about
I'm
a
not
cattle
familiar
driver
with it.
across Siberia during the Tsar's reign in Russia.
You remember
That sounds
Taurus
cool.
Bulba?
Hmm?
You remember Taurus Bulba?
Yeah.
Brennan? I love that movie.
What about you, Smiller? What would you like to adapt if you could do one?
The Book of Joshua.
That's
I
cool.
have a whole concept for the Book of Joshua that includes giants and dragons and all sorts of awesomeness. And,
I'd buy that. You should do that immediately. Okay.
I did an adaptation of the first book of Samuel for Mel Gibson's company.
Oh, really?
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
He was
When's
going
that
to do a
movie
trilogy
coming out?
about Saul and David and all that.
Yeah.
Neat stuff. Okay. Well, that's all I've got. Did the chat? If the chat's got any questions,
Yeah. The chat had someone.
group.
VDR
Did I
said
miss
John
anything?
secretly wants to write Barbie comics, which should bring us back around to your original question. What are you going to do with Jane Foster?
What are you gonna? Oh, I forgot. Nobody really answered that. You guys dodged the question. This for a whole hour.
Mike took my answer, man. I was going to turn her into a trans man.
Yeah, that's good. Oh,
Call him
jeez.
Thor.
Call him Thor. That's hilarious. That's really funny.
It's Thor.
Chuck, how would you bring your gravitas towards this? Because you could do it, and I'd probably read it.
I just approach the way I approach all the female characters. Just make them believable and relatable and likable, and somebody we care about and worry about, and just let it roll.
Take away all responsibility and
Yeah.
Oh, jeez.
No, I mean, just don't Mary Sue it up, and you got a good comic. I mean, I haven't seen the
Right.
recent movie, but apparently the way they get sympathy for Jane Foster, she's dying of cancer. It's like, wow, that's
Well, that was in the
that's
comic.
fun.
Yeah,
That was in what?
that was in the comics. See, well, but I haven't seen it yet. But my thing was, if they were going to kind of do the story where she has the cancer, then I was like, it would be pretty an obvious play that Thor's sort of lost his way, which is what the commercial seems to indicate, and then Jane gets the Thor power, but the Thor power exacerbates her cancer, and then she dies, and her death, basically the refrigerator, right? Her death.
A woman in a refrigerator? No,
Yeah.
don't put a woman in a refrigerator.
And then it refocuses Thor's whole purpose of being as being the hero that she died to show him that he needed to be.
Well, if it was
Is
at
that-
DC, that's what they would have done.
Is that the yeah, right?
They love
Is that
killing
the-
all female characters over there.
They really do. So
Seriously, we had open discussions about it at Fat Summits. Which female character are we going to kill this time?
oh jeez. Oh, don't get me started on DC female
when they
character
hire
treatment.
Female writers at DC, it's like Highlander. There can be only one.
Oh geez. Well, that seems like a good place to end the stream so we don't get ourselves into further trouble. So- is that it? Or do you guys was there anything else interesting going on today?
Well, thanks for stopping by.
Too much.
Good time said by all.
Yeah, we appreciate you guys in the chat for being there. Okay, we do have a couple questions. Somebody said, any advice on creating believable characters? That's the hardest part of fiction writing for me.
I
Me,
do have
Robert.
some advice about that.
Yeah, go ahead, Mike.
It's okay to base your character on somebody you know.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah,
Also,
nothing wrong with that.
Make sure we learn about the character through what they do, not what they say.
There's that, but also I'd say like the easiest thing to fail on for a new writer is you get caught in the plot and the character becomes a device to push the plot along. And so you got to make sure that like in normal people's lives and the way that people react, we're not on a mission 100% of the time. It's always like, okay, I'm trying to write my comic today. Oh, I'm going to go stream with these guys instead. And that has nothing to do with my writing the comic, even though that's my mission, my plot for the day, right?
Yeah, but what you're saying is funny because a lot of time, well, not terribly often, but like your character will disagree with your plot.
Yeah.
Well, that's important because we all know,
Which is
that
a good
if you
thing.
create a believable and compelling character, at some point the character's going to turn around and tell you what he's going to do next.
Right. And the thing is, that a lot of writers talk about character-driven versus plot-driven. That's bull. Your story has to be driven by both at the same time. And anybody who wants to see something that's character-driven and plot-driven at the same time, watch an episode of Monk. I think it's a perfect distillation.
Oh, I love it. Monk's one of my favorite shows.
Because, both story tracks are moving along at the same pace at the same time.
Why is it always fridge? Why not a lazy Susan? Well, a lazy Susan is sexist and ableist. So I think we got to change the name of Lazy Susan to Ambitious Susan. So, thank you.
Some of the audience might need to be
rude towards Susans.
Might need to be educated on what fridging a woman actually means.
We know there's lore behind that, of course. RH Snow says, how can I get started in finding artists to translate my sci-fi series into a graphic periodical? That's a tough one.
You go down to Brazil and throw a rock.
Yeah.
Just swing a dead cat around. You'll hit one of them.
You'll find your artist.
It's honestly like if you're looking for translating your novel, you really got to script it out into a comic or like that, because like an artist is not going to just take your novel and then suddenly you'll get a comic out of it. For the most part, you'll unless you find an artist who can also script, like you're gonna have to script that into like a panel breakdown or whatnot, or hire somebody to do so, then bring that to the artist in order to make that into a comic. And
I will say there's a much easier way than all that. It's
what's that?
Pay them a lot of money.
Pay them a lot of money. Yeah, there's that too.
First buy a lottery ticket.
But that's the deal. It is as far as like finding artists. I don't know. What I found is it was very hard to find artists, and then I started making money on Kickstarter, and then suddenly artists are finding me. And that's unfortunately the way the world works. Is like people want to get paid. So
well, and you know, by having multiple projects that were successful, you proved that you had the money and reliable payer.
That's true.
Like some one-off guy who's going to run out of money halfway through the project.
All right.
And there's a lot of those.
Find after being on that show tomorrow that you'll probably have a new bevy of artists coming to want to work with you.
I think so. Yeah, it'll be fun. Cool. Yeah. So definitely check out Chuck on Eric July tomorrow. And of course, we put Mike's sign up for the Private American in the chat also. And the other Mike doesn't want to be found.
No, leave me alone.
Leave him alone.
Live,
Stay away from me.
Cool. All right. So thanks for coming along, guys. I appreciate you guys. Make sure to back Hunter Ninja Bear also and Overmind it as well. And I guess we'll do this again. Did you guys like it? Was it fun? Are you nervous? Is it awkward?
I like it.
Do you have feedback on this?
I thought it was a good mix here. I thought we did.
Should we make it a thing?
Yeah.
Sure.
I'm down.
Let's make it a thing. Okay.
All right.
And then then I can play my little intro more because I like this intro. Like Cider did a good job. We'll end with it.
All across the known universe, innocent voices cry out for the Masters of Lore.